Hey everyone, today I want to talk about your favorite subject, bookkeeping. Does it give you the creeps or nightmares? Or, I talk to a lot of small business owners, especially solopreneurs, people who manage most aspects of their business themselves. And very few are enthusiastic about bookkeeping. So I started out, when I started my business in late 2014 with spreadsheets, so I don't mind spreadsheets. I quite like them. And that is what I used to keep track of my income, my expenses. And, that worked for a year or two while I was only doing one-on-one services. If you are quite organized, as I was, then that can definitely work. But once I started adding e-courses and Ask Me Anything sessions or paid seminars, webinars, or affiliate income, things got messy quickly. I suddenly had all these different income sources and it was hard to keep track of them. So I want to take you through the process that I went through in early 2020. I hadn't done my bookkeeping for a whole year. I basically procrastinated so badly in 2019 that I didn't do it for the whole year. So at the beginning of 2020, of course, my accountant wanted my reports and my numbers, and I panicked. I had tried working with bookkeepers, but that didn't work out. I tried two bookkeepers and they didn't quite understand my online business. So it was a lot of work and I didn't get the results that I needed. So I decided to bite the bullet and to learn QuickBooks Online. And that was a game changer. And I want to show you in this presentation what I did and how much that has helped me and how much time this is saving me. So let us get started and talk about how you can turn your bookkeeping nightmare into a smooth process. So let's have a look at the kind of services you might want to offer. So I will just use myself as an example. So at the time, I had one-on-one services in the form of, web design projects and maintenance. And I handled all of that through 17 Hats. So if you are a service provider who works with clients, it's definitely recommended that you use one of these CRM tools out there, customer relationship management tools. 17 Hats or Dubsade or Honeybook, any of those, will work. So in my example here, it's 17 Hats. Then I also offered Ask Me Anything sessions. Those were, personal sessions that someone could book with me. And I handled those through Squarespace scheduling. So that was done through my website. Actually, I used to have a lot more different sources here. Like I used to use MemberSpace, I used to use Acuity, and now I just handle everything through Squarespace. That has already simplified my process significantly. I love it. And then I also have products, which is my online courses and my Yuli planner. And again, I sell those through Squarespace. So this is what my bookkeeping used to look like. So Squarespace transactions, feed into PayPal and Stripe. Those are the two payment processors that I use. 17 Hats, I used PayPal. And then, of course, I have my, bank account for my business. I have a bank account for my taxes, so every month, I put money aside for taxes, and I have a business credit card. And again, PayPal and Stripe would send the money straight into my business bank account. And then I could also get a PayPal feed into 17 Hats for both sales and purchases, because I also use PayPal for business purchases. I was also able to get a feed from my banks into 17 Hats. So that was pretty nice, So for about a year, I actually used the bookkeeping function in 17 Hats for my business. One of the disadvantages was that I could not import Stripe into 17 Hats. That feature was not available. The other disadvantage was that the PayPal transactions were always the net transactions, so I would only see the net amount. So if someone paid $400 for a course and there was a $20 fee, I would only see the $380. But I need to see both. I need to see the actual sales amount, and then separately I need to see the merchant fee, because that is an expense. So I never had visibility of that through the PayPal feed into 17 Hats. So, that was pretty much a no-go. Also, my weekly and monthly administration for my bookkeeping was a lot of work. So what I ended up doing is, I had in 17 Hats, I had to go in and, categorize all of my transactions. And then I actually had to delete all of my PayPal sales transactions because, again, I only got the net amounts. I didn't get the merchant fees. And so, I mean, there was a way to separate them, but I had way too many transactions to do that. I mean, that was like a huge manual effort. So I just deleted them. And then every month, I basically added them manually. I would just kind of add them all up, and then I would add them manually into 17 Hats. And then I would also, my Squarespace sales, which of course did not feed into 17 Hats bookkeeping, so I would export all my Squarespace sales into a spreadsheet, and then I would sort and organize that into a table so that I would have a manual sales report to see, well, how many courses did I sell, how many Yuli planners. It was a huge manual effort. And also, I didn't really have a good way of getting a report out of this, like the profit and loss report. Again, 17 Hats did have a feature for profit and loss report, but I had to manually add a lot of transactions, to get accurate numbers. So this would take me like 6 to 12 hours at least every month, sometimes even longer, if I had a really good month. So needless to say, as my business grew, this setup just really wasn't working anymore. So what did I do? Well, I learned QuickBooks Online. And let me tell you, it was a nightmare initially because, I'm one of those people, I learn by doing. So at the beginning of 2020, I basically entered all of my transactions for 2019. I had a bit of a data feed from my banks and PayPal and Stripe, but there was a lot of manual inputting as well. And I did that 3 times because every time, something didn't quite work. So I actually had to redo it 3 times. I spent a whole week just doing this. But by the end of that, I had learned how to use the system. And then it just all clicked into place because of another component that I added, into this. So in QuickBooks, I would import my bank account information. So all of that data would feed into QuickBooks. And then for, my 17 Hats and Squarespace transactions, I would actually use Dext Greenback, which is an extension that you can connect to Squarespace. So all of my Squarespace transactions now feed directly into Dext. Or I still call it Greenback actually. And you will still see the Greenback branding in some places, but Greenback was actually purchased by a company called Dext. And then I can also feed my PayPal and my Stripe transactions into Dext. So yay, I finally had my Stripe transactions. And then 17 Hats would just have the feed into PayPal, but I would not do anything back into 17 Hats. So basically, I got rid of using 17 Hats for the bookkeeping. And now, via Dext, I would get my Squarespace sales, I would get my 17 Hats sales, and I would get my Stripe and PayPal fees separately, because that is what Dext does for me. They actually separate it out, so I get the gross amount for my course, I get the PayPal fee separately, and that is what I needed for my bookkeeping. And also all of my PayPal expenses, which again is something that I use for business purchases. And then this just feeds into QuickBooks, and I do all of my reconciliation in QuickBooks. So now I just have QuickBooks, I have Dext, and if you have a look at, so this is what I used to have to do, every week and every month. And now with this new setup, I only, every week I just review and, add my bank transactions from Dext into QuickBooks. And, there's a lot of automation in there as well, that is set up. And I also, this is my bank transactions, and then I export I call it Greenback transactions. I'm still used to calling it Greenback, but they are actually my Dext transactions, into QuickBook. This is all really quick. This doesn't take long at all, just a few minutes, basically. And then every month I reconcile my accounts. I reconcile my bank accounts, my credit card, PayPal, and Stripe, so that basically there is a feature in QuickBooks that allows you to do an end of a month reconciliation. So it will look at all of your expenses, all of your sales, and where everything came from, and then it will basically make sure that all transactions are accounted for. And it's wonderful, so this way I don't actually have to go through my statements, which is what I used to do, through my statements and literally manually check off, okay, has this actually happened? Where is this come from? And is this correct? That is what I used to do. I don't have to do that anymore. I do this all in QuickBooks, and it's really quick. And then I also get automated sales reports and profit and loss statements, all at the click of a button. So I can basically just go in there at any time, click on the report, and I can immediately see where my business stands financially. I just can't tell you how amazing it feels, because now I have full control over my finances with only about an hour worth of work every month. That's it. That's all the time I spend on this now. And so I get my, automated reconciliation, and I get my reports at the click of a button. And how much does this cost me? Well, QuickBooks starts at $25 a month, if you go with the basic plan, which for most businesses is enough as you start out. And Dext start at $19 a month. So basically for, $44 a month and a 1 hour's work, I get complete control and visibility of my business and my business finances. And yeah, that's worth something, right? So if you are still with me, I want to show you a very quick overview of Dext and QuickBooks. So let me just go into that. Before I do that, so I have a link, that is in the description or in the related blog post. I have an affiliate link for QuickBooks where you can save, up to 55%, for the first 3 months, so if you go with the Simple Start program, for instance, that's funny, Simple Start. I have a product called Simple Start. All right. Then it's actually only, like $11 a month, so definitely worth checking out. And then if you go to Dext, so they have a starter plan here. So if you pay every month, it's $19. If you pay upfront, you can get it for $16. And so well worth checking out. It's such a good system. So this is Dext now. And so just a very high level overview. So here, is where I connect my accounting software. So I'm connected to QuickBooks Online. And then here are my 3, income streams. You might remember that from my presentation earlier. So I've got PayPal, I've got Squarespace, and I've got Stripe, and they all feed into Dext. Now, what is really nice is, now think about it. There is, someone buys one of my courses and they pay $400. There are essentially two transactions now, right? Because there is the Squarespace transaction for that, when the sale is made through Squarespace. And then there is the, let's say, Stripe transaction, because they used Stripe to pay. So in Dext, I receive both transactions, because I get the feed from both systems. But Dext is smart. They know that they belong together, and they basically, upon, so I can choose, so I chose, I only want to see the Squarespace transactions because they have all the information that I need. And then we can just discard these Stripe transactions for this. So what Dext does for me is they delete the corresponding Stripe transaction because I don't need that because I have the Squarespace transaction, but they keep the Stripe merchant fee that belongs to that transaction. So I get my sales amount from Squarespace, and I get the merchant fee for this sale from Stripe. So Dext just works all that out. And they worked with me, so in the beginning when I set this up, I was working quite a lot with them to make sure everything is set up just how I needed it. So they're really good at that, they're a great company. And then, so this is just like a little example of what I do in a month, So here I've whittled this down to, so I've got like 9 transactions here. And you can choose how many you want to see. So I would just click on 10 here. So then I can see all these. And now you can see the little wheels. It's now connecting to QuickBooks already. And then I can just have a quick look over this transaction, So here is a processing fee for a sale of my Express course. So you can see here now. So here is my, this is my Squarespace transaction. And this is the Stripe transaction for the merchant fee. And you do not see the Stripe transaction for the sale because Dext has deleted that, So I only need these 2 transactions. This was never possible with the 17 Hats bookkeeping. And so I can just export it now. So this looks good here. I have categories that I use. So a merchant fee is the cost of goods sold category. And, if you click on this here, you can see all your categories. So I just export this and off it goes. Squarespace Express. Now, when something comes in, sometimes I have to still allocate it, to the corresponding product in QuickBooks. So this is my Express course, but actually here, it always chooses the last one that I used, that I submitted. So I just quickly click on the drop down here, and I can see all of my products here that as they are set up in QuickBooks. I see that. So I just select my Express course and export. Bam, easy. This one here. Okay, so again here, PayPal, there is actually a little, this is not right, owners pay. So in this case, I quickly change that because this is a cost of goods sold merchant fee. I export that and off it goes. Undated yearly planner. So sometimes products get automatically matched, but sometimes I have to do it manually, but it's, it's pretty quick. So I just find, the Yuli planner, physical products, undated Yuli planner. So I export that. And then here, Stripe already, it knows, cost of goods sold, merchant fee. That's correct. And then here someone actually bought my classroom course and SEO Plus. So in this case, I cannot actually split it here in Dext, so I'll just export it as this one here. And this doesn't happen very often, actually, that someone buys 2 courses like that. So I just make a note, of the transaction number, which is the sales number here from Squarespace. And I'll just export it, and then I'll just go into QuickBooks and I'll just break them up. I'll split them out between the classroom course and the SEO Plus course. And then this here is a affiliate payment that came in from one of my affiliate programs, so I just go to my affiliate list here and here they are, Termageddon, best privacy policy provider, by the way. Go to my website and look in my toolbox. You will see a link to Termageddon. They are awesome if you are looking for a privacy policy or disclaimer for your website. I can highly recommend them. And then here we have another processing fee, which again, in this case is not allocated quite correctly. So I'm just going to find the correct one. And then here, someone bought the express course. So again, sometimes it will already match up the correct ones, and sometimes I have to just quickly make a change. It's really no big deal. I'm, when I just do it without actually explaining it, I just go through boom, 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 very easy. And so now all of my transactions are in QuickBooks. And how easy is that? So in QuickBooks, I just want to show you one of the things that I really, really like. It's the reporting. And so, there is the profit and loss report, which is something your accountant will ask for. And it basically, is an overview of all your income and all your expenses. So here is an example, just of last year's profit and loss. And then I can actually click on this and I can immediately see what happened. So I have my sales, so there's affiliate income, my e-courses, the yearly planner. Then these are all my product sales. Then I have service sales, and then I have a total. And then my expenses, I can look at all of this here. And I can also, just click on a number here and I can drill into it and look at the individual transactions. Now, if I want to know, well, how much did each course sell for, I can also go into a sales by product report. So here, for instance, we have one for last month, and then I can just click on my e-courses, and then I can see immediately what has sold. And I'll tell you one reason why it is so amazing and so important to have this information and to actually do your numbers. So we are in 2022, in June 2022 as of recording this. And the last couple of months have been really quiet. There's a lot going on in the economy. People are more careful. We have inflation and we have rising costs of living. And there's just a lot of stuff going on in the world. And I just had a sense, wow, sales are really soft, these last couple of months. And I started to really worry. And then I thought, well, I've done my bookkeeping, so why don't I just have a quick look at my numbers? So I just went into QuickBooks and I, pulled up this report and I thought, okay, so most months I do 5 figures, I'm usually around 10, 12,000. But I thought, okay, 8,000, that's actually okay. That's actually a lot better than I thought, and that is why it's so nice to have this system. Because it's easy to keep up to date and it just gives me really important information, at the click of a button. So, so I would say, if you really don't want to do it, don't want to deal with your bookkeeping, then absolutely try and find a good bookkeeper. Bookkeepers are definitely worth it. If this is just something that, if anything I've just showed you just makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with this, then get help for it, But if you are someone who doesn't mind, rolling up your sleeves, learning a system, and, taking some time to set it all up, there's a bit of effort involved. You might actually just really, really like this, just to reiterate, this system here, where, this is just amazing, just between those two systems, I have just complete control over my finances. So I hope that this was helpful. Thank you so much.